Today, if you are at a place where you don't own the AMC instance, you work with an agency, or you're not in it too much, that is probably the first problem I would fix. Make sure that you have access to your own AMC instance. That'll be the first thing I would recommend if you're not already there. Well, thank you all for joining. Today's topic is really about helping brands get a ton more value out of Amazon Marketing Cloud in general. What we have seen is that there is a lot more opportunity, but we just see a lot of under leveraging of AMC going on in the ecosystem. In the way of introduction, I'm one of the founders and CEO here at Intentwise. Love all things Amazon Marketing Cloud. And then I've got Kenton here, who's our product manager. He is co-hosting this with me, and behind the scenes is Vaibhav. He's not on screen, but he's usually here helping us with any operational issues. So let's dive in. And what we're going to cover today is what is now possible with Amazon Marketing Cloud that is otherwise not possible, challenges that you're facing, how to best overcome them, and then we'll end with some Q&A. So diving in, one of the key points I wanted to make was that the use and utility of Amazon Marketing Cloud now extends well beyond just advertising optimization. For a while now, AMC was relegated just to the ad team or the agency, and all of the use cases that got prominence were all about ad optimization. What has been shifting, though, is that the amount of signals and data being made available through AMC is expanding the number of use cases that are possible above and beyond just ad management. We look at this as an important data set and an asset for overall channel optimization and also cross-channel optimization. So that is one shift I encourage everyone here to make in their minds about how you think about AMC. Today, if you are at a place where you don't own the AMC instance, you work with an agency, or you're not in it too much, that is probably the first problem I would fix. Make sure that you have access to your own AMC instance. That'll be the first thing I would recommend if you're not already there. But what is possible now? What is possible? I'm going to walk you through a few examples. So understanding customer lifetime value. If you are a 1P brand, you have never had shopper level purchase information looking back an extended period of time. Now you have 5 years of that data, and you can do all kinds of analysis, customer lifetime value being one of them. What you're seeing is actually a chart from our platform where by cohort of users that you have acquired as customers, you can now see 3, 6, or 9-month or 1 year, even 3-year lifetime value view. And you couldn't do this before. Now, if you're a 3P brand, you kind of were able to get to this before, but it was not tied to your advertising data. So this is new. Understanding churn. How many of your customers have just dropped off and when? So that you can do a number of things to go bring them back. Repeat purchase analysis. What is that cohort that is buying a lot? How do you treat them differently from others? This is possible now. Even time to purchase, you can get a lot more granular about that now. Understanding follow-on product purchases. So we have a network view of if you bought product A, what are you buying in the subsequent 1, 3, 6-month period? What other products are you buying? It can help you refine your bundling strategy, and it can help you with a number of other choices you would make. But this is now possible because of AMC. And the last use case I want to share here is shopper abandonment. Where are shoppers abandoning your product? By product, you can see how many people have abandoned after looking at your detail page view or engage with your content, add to cart, wish list, gift list. There's a number of things you can do from this information. Of course, you can go create audiences to target them, but you can also understand what products are showing a very bigger drop off than others, and you can go investigate why. So these are some examples of what is now possible that is otherwise not possible without AMC. Like I said before, the challenge though is that I think for most brands, there's just a lot left on the table in terms of how they are leveraging it today. Now, there's some reasons for it, understandable reasons for it. I'll talk about four of them that we see stand out the most. One is awareness. As a team, brand team, knowing what is possible, what signals are available within AMC is a big gap still. Two is data complexities. So if you are a reasonable sized brand, you have your own product categorizations, let's call it a product taxonomy. You have your own way of categorizing campaigns, let's call it media taxonomy. All these things have to be ingested into the outputs of AMC. Otherwise, it's not useful to you. So there's complexity there. Do you have the right tech stack? The AMC console, for example, doesn't allow you to schedule outputs and dashboards and queries. Uploading first party data is not straightforward. These are all things that you need to go further around extracting value from AMC. So that having the right tech stack has been the challenge. And lastly, customization. And I'll touch more on this in a moment. But every business has a lot of nuances and unique aspects to it. Your standard questions and insights that are available may not address the specific questions you have. So there's a real need to do custom work. The challenge for internal brand teams is oftentimes you don't have the resources that can execute those asks. So in that context, what is our recommendation in terms of things brands can and should do to extract a ton more value? There's four key pieces. One is prioritize team education. Right? There's some resources today that make it really easy for you to go do so. One is Amazon's own learning console has an AMC certification course. I think they've done a great job of it. I would highly encourage your team members to go through that. Second, Intentwise, we have put a bunch of resources together, what's called AMC Learning Hub. Kenton or Vaibhav, you can drop the link in the chat. Check that out. That could be a great starting point for you. That also includes learning SQL, which is, by the way, the language in which things have to be written, whether queries or insights or audiences. And then lastly, we do have a community which is entirely focused on education. So drop that link as well so we can join that. But I think you have to prioritize education because there's a lot there and it's evolving fast. It's incredibly important to understand what is actually understand what is in it so you can frame what is possible. The second thing is just building a roadmap of questions. Questions and or ideas for audiences. I think about this as an iterative exercise. Start with a small list of 3 to 5 things that really matter. Maybe you have introduced new products and you're trying to figure out how things are working there. Maybe you have been doing a ton of deals during tentpole events and you have no idea whether that was a good thing or a bad thing. So whatever that might be, sitting down and framing a list of questions, ideally done on the foundation of understanding what is inside AMC, is a great starting point, highly recommended. It doesn't even have to be very complicated. A simple one pager with about 5 to 10 questions is a starting point. You have to somehow address the need for bespoke stuff, custom stuff, whether that is you train someone on your team that knows SQL or you work with somebody external. The standard canned items available on the console are not going to cut it as your questions get more and more complex. And then lastly, just operationalizing the right tech stack. And I'll delve deeper into what does the right tech stack mean. But keep these four things in mind. And I'm going to touch on this bespoke need stuff with some very specific examples. Like I said before, I think what we have observed over working with brands and agencies over the last 2.5 years is that the best questions and the most impactful questions you're asking are often very unique to you. Let me give you some examples of stuff we have done for clients. There was a pet brand that wanted to understand retargeting incrementality, and the way we frame the question is, or the problem is, you've got shoppers who get exposed to your product detail pages. How about we look at how they perform in a couple of buckets? Those that then get a follow-on retargeting ad exposure and those that don't, right? We saw some pretty interesting outcomes running this output. And this is an example of custom work we've done for a client. Here is another one. Understanding lifetime value of subscribe and save customers that you have, and then their retention period. I think this will be, for a lot of CPG brands, this will be an important use case. This is, again, an example of custom work we have done for clients. We had a supplement brand. We have a supplement brand as a client that wanted to, they were running DSP in Q1 of 2025, and the attributed revenue was whatever you see in the chart. And then they were, we were questioning like, hey, is this worth it or not? One of the things we did for them is, look, let's hold the cohort of shoppers that were exposed to your DSP ads in Q1, and let's see how much revenue are they driving over the next 3 quarters. AMC is the place to do it. Does it completely address the impact of DSP? No, but at least you start to understand what is it potentially doing above and beyond the attributed revenue that the DSP console shows. We have done a ton of custom work for clients, crafting queries and audiences, but here's a few examples, right? Understanding both new to brand acquisition and lifetime value from deal ASINs. That deal ASIN could be at a Prime Day, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, it doesn't matter. You can upload deal ASINs into AMC and then start to ask these questions. Mapping ASINs to specific search terms. So if you have campaigns where you have multiple products in the same campaign, you have no, or an ad group, you have no way of tying ASINs to specific search terms in your ad data. But AMC allows us to actually understand that very well. Custom definition of new to brand. We have had multiple clients who have a main product and then there's a subscription element to it, whether it's a refill or a new cartridge or what have you. And so your out of the box new to brand definition doesn't work for them. For example, I could have bought the main product elsewhere, but I'm only buying the accessories or refills on Amazon. To those brands, that's not a new to brand customer. So we have developed custom logic specific to them around new to brand. Same applies for lifetime value. We've also done work around first touch DSP exposure and then time to conversion. The list goes on and on. The point I want to make is there is significant value to be had when you try and answer questions that are unique to you from AMC. Okay. And that is why whether you solve it internally by building SQL skills and AMC skills or work with someone like us, it is very critical to address the bespoke need if you want to get value from AMC. Now, I showed this slide to you before. We talked about the custom needs. I want to talk about what do I mean by the right tech stack. And I think the complexity around this is not very well understood. So let me see if I can peel a couple of layers and share with you what has been our point of view on the right tech stack. A bit of a dense slide, but I'll walk you through the boxes. There's an entire layer that is necessary around AMC. So first one is this ability to ingest your custom data, whether that is product taxonomies, what are your deal ASINs by tentpole events, your own first party data, any of those things. So you have to have a good, clean, data secure mechanism to ingest your specific data into AMC. After that comes query libraries, audience libraries, both predefined as well as custom, which then have to be tied to a scheduler. Scheduler meaning there are certain questions you ask on a weekly and monthly basis. You want them scheduled, you want dashboards showing up, emails going out. That's what I mean by a scheduler. And then an error handling. If you're running AMC queries, you notice that you will run into errors and you want to have retry mechanisms. You want to be able to work with Amazon to resolve some of those things. So scheduling and error handling is a necessity. And then lastly, the ability to push audiences to sponsored ads and DSP, dashboards, and if you are a large internal team with global marketplaces, potentially white label reporting capabilities. And lastly, data pipes. Remember that AMC's data set is a rolling 12 and a half months. And of course, there is a pocket of data that looks back 5 years, which is a retail data set, but vast majority of it is still rolling 12 and a half
25
months.
months now.
And the traffic is 25 months, I believe. Not
Yes.
right.
Yes.
So there's this mix and match of how far back you can go. But there's a lot of views where it might make sense for you to extract the data out and feed it into your reporting systems. That's what I call data pipes, right? So depending on your scale and your maturity of what organizational maturity, you will need some or all of these components, and that is what I mean by the necessary tech stack to operate on AMC at scale. Again, I want to remind you, just keep dropping questions. If you have any, we'll take them right at the end at this point. So how does Intentwise help? I think we've always believed that the right solution for AMC is a combination of technology, support for custom work, which is analytic services, and education. Now, on the education front, we do a ton of work on an ongoing basis, including with this webinar. We've been on sessions with Amazon at Accelerate and Unboxed. We put out content, and then certainly the Learning Hub. So we focus a lot on this, right? From a technology perspective, we have a solution called Intentwise Explore. This is something we co-developed with Amazon, and we have several hundreds of instances activated, and we've been helping clients for the last couple of years. I'm not going to go through every bullet here, but all of the necessary tech stack components we have baked into the Intentwise Explore, and it continues to get better and evolve. So we do have a tech platform. We then complement the tech platform with services, whether it's a custom query here or a custom audience there or dashboard build outs or any kind of advanced analytics. Our services team complements our tech platform. We're able to deliver to that need. But yeah, so I think these three components make up our solution. And then before I get to Q&A, we are, in terms of potential next steps with anyone who's attending, we're going to share a white paper with a lot of what we have discussed today and some case studies. We would love to schedule a free consultation just to assess where things are for you today and what is the best path forward. And then lastly,
Sreenath, on that point, I'm actually going to launch a poll here for that second point. If you'd want to schedule a consultation, talk about building a roadmap for AMC, I'm going to launch a poll now. Just answer yes there, and someone from our team will reach out to you.
And then if you want to schedule a product demo, Kenton or Weber, go ahead and drop the link to schedule a demo, so you can do that. But yeah, those are some ways we can engage, and we'd be more than happy to connect and help you, really accelerate how you can get some value, much more value out of Amazon Marketing Cloud. With that, I think we can roll into questions. Let me see if there is any already.
Yeah, so we have a couple here. The first question we have is, how does AMC distinguish and or identify Rufus recommended products and prompts?
Good question. I don't know that there is a distinction at the moment. Kenton, is there? I don't think
there's not. Yeah. So I guess Amazon really doesn't provide much data at all on this user interacted with your product through Rufus at this point in time. AMC's no different in that regard. So nothing that's like a flag that this user interacted with the prompt through Rufus, especially since a lot of Amazon data is advertising, or AMC data is advertising by default. So outside of potentially prompts, Rufus data wouldn't be fully relevant in that context.
Yeah. The short answer is we're waiting for that to come through. Hopefully it does.
Yes.
There's also a question, how will other non-Amazon clean rooms track consumer journeys that are executed by Google's Universal Commerce Protocol experience and agents? By the way, just FYI for everybody, Google's UCP, the Universal Commerce Protocol, is making the rounds. It is a protocol they have defined for anybody and everybody to follow, for agents to follow in terms of executing commerce, right? Checkout, right? It all got announced like in the last 3 or 4 days. To be honest with you, the world has to evolve and see where we land. I think there's not a lot that is set in stone. So we don't know the answer to your question, but we are certainly very eager and monitoring that to see how that influences the work we do. There's another question, which is, should we consider using custom audiences only for DSP, or we should push into PPC also? Look, this is a simple answer. You absolutely have to be testing out audiences within PPC. That is if you look at the evolution of sponsored ads, it went from first the auto campaigns. There was no targeting. You just put products. Then came keywords. then came product targets, then came audiences. Now you have the option to actually go with custom audiences specific to you. We have actually done a couple of webinars on this topic. Happy to share those links as well, and we probably will do more. But short answer is you absolutely should be activating custom audiences within sponsored ads, and certainly leveraging bid boosting to figure out where it makes the most sense. Complex question. What is the best way to scale AMC across agencies? What's the path from bespoke to standardized adoption? Great question. Let me address it a couple of ways, right? I think if I think about it from an agency perspective, let's for a second assume that you've got large scale clients and medium to small clients. I am of the view that a lot of the medium to small potentially can benefit from all of the standard stuff that already exists, and whether that's insights and or audience activations. But some of the larger clients where hopefully you're charging them enough money, but I think AMC is a pathway to get to some very like important strategic questions. And I don't think that'll ever get, I mean, the standardization will continue, but I think we are far from saying every ask that is out there can be standardized. I don't think we are even close. Because a lot of times the questions are unique, complicated, and there are nuances for one time use. So, Kat, I hope I answer your question. It's a bit of a mixed answer here. What we are trying to do to make agency life simple is the following. I know you sit there and deal with tons of instances and you have to activate dashboards and audiences across a whole bunch of instances, and you want to have good, nice looking reports and dashboards being published to your clients. And then you also, for select clients, you want to have these sophisticated capabilities of first party uploads and so on and so forth. What we are trying to do here, Kat, is like put the right tech stack in place for the agencies to scale as well, but also have a services layer to support these non-standard asks. So that's what we are trying to do.
Yeah, I would just add as you're getting those custom asks, I think that's the opportunity to identify what are, as an agency, your standard executions, right? If you have a custom ask and it goes really well and you get great insight out of it, then maybe that's something that you create as a standard query that you're executing across your agency. And that's outside of what Amazon may have as standard. So I think that process can help standardize the process a little bit more across the agency in a unique way. And then just making sure that your teams are adequately educated on what's possible through AMC so that as business questions come up, they can identify, this is something that AMC could be a solve for.
One other thing I'll add, Kat, is the role of agencies has also evolved quite a bit, right? So if you dial back 2-3 years, I mean, advertising itself was new, complex, and you could just focus on ads, and that's all we did a lot of times. But now we all have come to the conclusion that like performance of ads is so influenced by non-ad factors. Retail and advertising can't really be separated. And we now have cross-channel effects that are going on. Like these lines are blurring between Amazon and D2C and TikTok. So the type of conversation we have as agencies with brands has just completely shifted. And so I think there is no choice or option around having the right analytics and tech stack to support that shift, where the brands will be asking for more comprehensive understanding of channel performance and more strategic things like, okay, what is my cost of acquisition of my customer in this channel versus some other channel? Am I spending the money the right way here, or should I be moving it somewhere else? So like there's all these strategic things that become very important. What we're trying to do here is like shift with the agency needs to let them be much more strategic in the conversations agencies have with their clients, and not just be restricted to ads, but take a holistic channel performance view.
Sreenath, another question that we got is what CPG brands have been leveraging AMC the longest in the most effective way?
I mean, I assume the question is about categories. I think without naming names, but like supplements, beauty. What else keeps coming up a lot for us?
Yeah, like supplements,
care,
personal care. Yeah.
personal care. I think the dynamics are different, but let's say you take the toy category where you do not have a lot of repeat purchases, and frankly, you don't care about subscribe and save and repeat purchase. There, the use cases are just a little different. But on the CPG side, where subscribe and save matters, where understanding of churn becomes important,
A
and then
lot of
there's
those brands have really high SKU counts too, right?
yeah,
So
high SKU counts, correct. Yeah, and also multi-brand scenarios, right? So that's where I think the question get a lot more complex and richer. So separately, happy to share any specific names that you desire and specific use cases, but this at the moment, that's our response in this forum. And I will say 1P versus 3P also makes a difference. Any thoughts on Instacart's clean room recent announcement? I think the all the retail media networks, our assumption is that at some point or the other, they will want to compete with Amazon Marketing Cloud, and they will keep releasing these clean rooms. I think the thing about clean rooms is that the types of use cases remain the same, right? You understand shopper journeys better. You can custom craft audiences to go target them, uh, and you understand, repeat purchase, lifetime value aspects better. I don't expect that to be any different. We are excited that they have done, the Instacart has done that. And at Intentwise, we are on a path. We are basically extremely data and signal hungry, right? We will pick up any new signal or data that somebody is willing to share. Not related to AMC, but we just launched our Shopify integration as of this week. We're already integrated to TikTok ads. We are about to launch a TikTok shop integration shortly. We will also be launching Google and Meta before January is over. The path we are on is we are building in a highly, like extremely comprehensive data and knowledge platform that is bringing all of the signals that matter from a given brand's perspective. So you truly understand what is driving a product's performance, both in channel and cross channel. So, sorry, long winded answer, but to us, any platform that says, I'm going to share this data, we are very excited about.
all right.
One more question.
Yeah.
Walmart is playing all angles of AI, internal shopping assistant, OpenAI, Google UCP, but no data clean room that I'm aware of. Do you anticipate a great? So the question here is, what is Walmart doing with clean room? And is Scintilla their option? I believe, from what we understand currently, Scintilla is their option. It just, the access to it works a little bit differently from what Amazon has done with Amazon Marketing Cloud. It costs a ton of money, a lot of money. Is I don't know the exact price point. Also, the brand has to get access, who then has to give access to someone like us. So access is quite a bit gated. There is a price point to it, and so our assumption is Scintilla will be their answer, but the universal access and availability, I'm not sure where they'll end up over the next few months. Anybody here that is using Scintilla today and has gotten a ton of value from it? Just curious. Okay. Any other questions, Kenton?
Don't see anything else. I think about wraps it. But if anybody else does have any questions following up from this, you can definitely obviously use that email or meeting scheduler link that I posted before, or please feel free to contact us directly, and happy to answer any further questions that you guys might have.
Personally, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. If you message me there, we can absolutely get back to you. But I can get back to you. But besides the other links, if you want to just hit me up with a message, that'd be great. We are also going to be at a few conferences. We'll be at Expo West. We'll be at Shop Talk. And so if you're at any of those conferences, love to see you in person. Okay.
All right. Thanks, everyone.